Alright, I'm gonna... Alright. That might be the most horrendous timing I've ever seen. Alright, I'm gonna make the stream public now. Here you go, links in your DMs. Alright, we are in game now.
I think with that we're live. Bonzo, one more thing. Can you turn off your locators real quick?
Oh yeah.
Cool, appreciate it. All right, yeah. With that, I think we're live. So, hello everyone. My name is Syntax Definition. I'm the owner and technical lead of Antediluvian. I'm joined here today by Virark, my fellow co-owner, writer of lore, awesome suggestions, and yeah. Besides me, I also have Dion, which is our music composer, and generally an awesome dude. And yeah, we have Bonzo. I'm sure everyone here has seen Bonzo's videos inside of our Discord. Thank you a lot for mentioning our game. So yeah, I think that covers the introductions.
Right.
So yeah,
Yeah, should we
let me
just
go
get...
ahead and open up.
Okay.
Cool. For everyone here, you can join our Discord over at discord.gg/antediluvian or by visiting the site down below.
I've also pinned the message as well to the Discord. So if you want to ask questions, just check the pinned link.
Yep. Right, and with
in
that,
chat.
NA questions is now open for messages. There we go. Cool. Yeah. So we're both going to try to answer all of your questions to the best of our ability. We might not be able to answer some of them, or will not answer them at the moment. But, yeah, let's get started.
Alright, so first question I've seen popped up is, will there be injuries and will they show visuals of the injury / effects of it?
So to answer that first question, yes, there are injuries in Antediluvian, and they are visually there. For example, if you look at my character, you can see I have a scar from a previous injury.
Oh yeah, I see.
But I can also, for example, if I run some debug commands real quick. So I just say wound, there we go. Just run this a couple times on myself. You will see my injuries will visually start to pop up as I take damage over time.
So these markings on his torso and on his arms. So I think that answers the question pretty good.
Yeah, so by taking specific types of damage, for example, burning damage, stabbing damage, binding wounds, those will all visually show up on the character, and they will stay there until you heal them up using, of course, a bandage. If you don't heal them up in time, they will eventually turn into scars, which I could say they are some trophies from your battles, but yeah.
Alright, the second question is that I'm going to ask is, does the game have permadeath? By Gana Gal.
I'm going to leave that next question to Virark.
Yes, the game does have permadeath. We plan to be quite harsh with it. It was originally planned to be a lot harsher, but because of how long we planned for the game's progression to be, we aren't making it as harsh as we used to. But it's still quite a harsh progression, and it's very easy to lose everything.
And another question is the game more PvE focused, PvP focused, or a mix of both?
The game is a lot more PvE focused than PvP. PvP is possible, but it's not really enforced because it's a lot easier to kill a player than it is to kill a mob, so fights can be quite unfair, so they rely a lot on stealth and whoever draws first.
Okay. So another question concerning PvP is, how will the combat look like? Or you can just describe it, I guess.
I don't want to go much into combat at this point, because of course combat is, well, player combat is probably one of our least concerns currently, so it's not something that has been very, very highly discussed, but a lot of it is, it's very chaotic. It's not like combo based. Well, it's skill based in the sense of, you know, you need to plan out your attacks. A lot of it can also have to do with trapping your enemies, so killing them before they even get to you with things like explosives.
Yeah, so more like strategy rather than head-on, just fighting.
So yeah, a lot of the combat is incredibly chaotic if you don't plan ahead.
Okay. Another question is, what is the price of the game? So I guess another question is, will the game be paid access? And if it will be...
As it stands, the game is free to play.
Okay. So free to play. Another question. No microtransactions either. That's a breath of fresh air. So how will the game? Another question is, how will the game generally work? So servers, floor, what? That's quite a broad question, but if you want to just, I don't know,
I can
maybe,
get into that a bit.
yeah.
Um, well, the way it works quite literally is you start off in this lobby area that we're in. We're in a little enclosed space inside of the lobby. You dive down from the lobby, and then you are sent into procedurally generated maps of different biomes depending on where you chose to delve down into. And yeah, you just get into randomly sent maps. Your objective is to just basically progress through them and try and get as deep as possible. To discover new biomes, new creatures, and yeah, literally, your objective is just get down as far as you can.
Okay.
Which can be a lot of, going down and back up because you don't have enough resources or whatnot, or you find new stuff and you use it to make new things, and then it can help you get down deeper.
Okay. Question by Guppy: will you show us an Antediluvian run, or is this purely Q&A? From my knowledge, this is just Q&A.
This is purely Q&A.
Yeah.
We'll show gameplay another time, but right now we're not prepared to show anything, as a lot of stuff is still very early in development.
Okay.
Yes. To talk about that a little bit. We have the stuff of gameplay in the works right now. As Viarka said, it's mostly procedural generation that we still have yet to do. And of course, as many other game developers will know, procedural generation, especially on the Roblox platform, can sometimes be a little pain. So we're following the right algorithms and the right setup to make sure that the game stays fun and non-repetitive. And of course, scalable for the future and eventual content updates.
Okay. Will the game have slots, so save slots for different characters?
We have been discussing it a bit. It's not entirely set in stone, but if we are going to have slots, they're not going to be many. But I think there's a good chance that there will be some slots, but we don't want a lot of slots to incentivize, staying with one character.
Okay. How will you progress your character? So how will there be any like physical progression, for example, like levels or a skill tree, or just will progression be based in what kind of equipment you have, like leveling up your pickaxe or whatever other tools you have?
Virak, 1 second. Before you answer that question, can you drag our volume sliders up a little bit in the stage channel? Just a tad.
No, apparently we're quite quiet. I don't actually have the stream volume turned up. Oh yeah, I'm quite quiet.
What, in the stream?
Yeah.
Okay, I've turned you guys up.
Great, thanks a lot. Yeah, so the progression system as a whole. I think Virak might be able to answer that question the best. I'll try to fill in on some stuff.
Yeah, there's no like kind of level system. There is, I guess, suppose something similar, not in the sense of like Deep Woken where it's just power and its levels renamed, but there is a similar system of sorts. But a lot of it is centered around just getting new items and being able to go deeper with those items. But there is a actual sort of progression to your character. I won't get much into it because it's very specialized, but yeah.
Okay. A question from I Do It. When you say the game is heavily PvE based and that it's difficult to fight mobs, do you think people would make builds just to easily kill monsters? Or like, I don't know what that means, since builds and leveling
yeah.
and would you have certain kits for just taking out monsters, or can you have certain kits for focusing on players? Is that possible or viable?
Yeah, no, there is. You can be, a monster hunter. It's not entirely recommended, especially if you're playing alone. If you're playing alone, I would not recommend being a monster hunter in the slightest. But if you're working in like groups, you could have someone who's specialized in fighting off or even killing monsters. Because also there is, although you don't really want to fight monsters because you don't want to waste resources and of course you don't want to die, there is some benefit to killing certain things because they might give you certain items.
Okay. Will there be, well, this guy asked, will there be bosses with unusual attack patterns? But a better question would be, will there be bosses full stop, or more difficult fights? Okay.
There are, I suppose there are some creatures you can consider bosses because they're incredibly difficult or big or whatever, but there's no like set in stone boss fights.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Are there spears in Antediluvian?
Say again?
Are there spears in Antediluvian?
We'll leave that one a mystery.
Okay, alright, so spears are... that's a mystery. But were you going to say something before I asked? If there were
I just wanted to align a little bit on that boss question. We do have some difficult missions which have packs of specific mobs, which you could consider to be almost like a little boss fight, a swarm almost. We call them nests internally.
Okay.
Hmm.
When you die, will you drop your loot? I mean, that's a good question, since what's going to be the setback really for dying on a mission or just dying in general?
Bit difficult to talk about it without explaining how the whole system works, but you won't lose everything on death initially. You'll only lose some stuff, but when your character full-on wipes, you'll drop everything you have.
Okay.
If it is even obtainable, you may have fallen to your death into the void.
All right. Yeah. Fair enough. Okay. Let's see. This is an interesting question. Is the procedural generation tied to the lore of the game? For example, is it because the undergrounds reshape or move or change, making it impossible to map out? I think that's quite an interesting question.
That is quite an interesting question. It is, but it is related to the lore, but not in the way that people probably think.
Okay.
It's not a kind of the world is shifting kind of situation, but the procedural generation is lore tied.
Okay. Will the game include man-made areas for procedural generation? So, I mean, I guess that's like, will the procedural generation just be like caves and stuff, or will we be able to find like settlements
structures?
Structures.
Yeah,
Structural generation.
You can find structures of sorts. You can find man-made remains. I mean, I won't go too much into it, of course, but there are also missions related to man-made structures. That's all I'll say, because then otherwise I'm saying what it is.
All right. Let's see here. Will the game have a character creator screen, or will you just kind of be thrown in? You take what you get. So will you be able to customize your character?
As it stands, a lot of the stuff that defines your character is currently randomized.
Okay.
Yeah.
You do take some stuff from your character, like for example, we have our hair from our ROBLOX character, and also our skin tone. So yeah, that's the only things that currently are transferred from your character. But besides that, you're just left to your own devices.
Right.
We really didn't want to include at least much character customization, because we want you to kind of deal with the character that you're handed, because we're not expecting you obviously to beat the game on your first try. We expect you to die a lot, so we don't want you to waste time sitting there in a character creator customizing a character just for it to die within seconds.
Okay.
So we want you to play with the cards that you're dealt.
So then is there further character customization down the line after you've kind of settled in with your character?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I feel like one big thing that a lot of people look for is like drip potential, customization potential.
Yeah.
Okay.
We in terms of like how your character's base looks like, his eyes and such, that's not the most customizable, but in terms of like getting, outfits and whatnot, and I don't know, weapons that make your character look cool, yeah, that's all possible.
Okay. Another question. When reaching 0% HP, do you die immediately, or is it going to be like a ragdoll gripped, have to be executed kind of thing?
It's handled in a more so like a knocked state, but at the same time, if you remain knocked for too long, you are dead.
Okay,
it's not like someone has to physically come over and kill you.
Okay, all right. So, in other games where you would just kind of get up after 10 seconds, if you're knocked, you die without any assistance.
Yeah, you need someone to come and help you.
I think it's context sensitive on the way how you got knocked. For example, if you got like stabbed to death by like a player and suddenly you're just lying on the floor bleeding out, yeah, you're gonna die if you stay knocked for too long and are not healed up. But let's say you like trip too hard. Well, it depends on the it depends on the injuries. Some might heal themselves, so you might get back up, but some of them you might just you'll just die if you're untreated. That's just the harsh reality of Antediluvian.
Okay. Let's see. Is there going to be a banking system for holding loot, or will you just have to carry everything on you?
You will have to carry everything on you.
Okay. All right.
If you bank, I would not trust anyone else with your items.
Okay.
Besides maybe other players who are like your expedition squad.
All right. All right. So, let's see. Will there be ways or risks to lose your humanity? So I'm guessing maybe like change your race or something?
Oh, like you want to become what I am, basically.
Yeah. So maybe you could reveal some light on the races as a whole at the same
Races
time.
aren't really a thing. My little blue goon, he's a spec. He's just what I am. He doesn't do anything special. I'm just blue.
Okay.
Also do this. Hang on. Let me do this.
Oh, okay. So big shoes.
Big shoes. Yeah, that's about it. They're
So
not really races aren't particularly a thing. It's just humans.
okay.
Everything else in the sinkhole is a not humanoid.
Something also quite important would be a tutorial. Is it you just kind of thrown in, or is there a gameplay tutorial like an NPC tells you what to do?
Yeah, there's a tutorial.
Okay.
We aren't just leaving you to your own devices. I think the game's a bit too harsh for that.
Okay. Let's see.
I'd say it's more like the tutorial NPC gives you some information how to get started, but the rest is up to the player to find out.
Yeah,
Okay.
you get a tutorial on how to, literally start out the game and how to start playing, and you get a couple tips here and there based on like, oh, I'm trying to use this mechanic, and then the game will teach me how to use said mechanic. But like, past the start, there's nothing.
Let's see. Will there be microtransactions? I mean, you said there would be no microtransactions, but
No,
what's
no.
the plan for? Is there any kind of monetization?
As it stands, no.
As it stands, no.
Let's see. Anything positive to wiping? For example, in how deep work in your game in echoes on wipe, or like even passing down, or like anything to do with any positivity on wiping, or is it just
No.
you learning from your
Wiping is-
mistakes? Okay.
You lose absolutely everything on wipe, and nothing kept whatsoever.
Okay. All right. This person asks, is there going to be a way for mobile cooking or making food on the move? I guess that also ties in maybe to like just reveal some light on the hunger system.
Yeah, no, you can cook. You can be a chef. You
Okay.
can specialize into becoming a chef of sorts. I'm not sure who would do that, but if you want to, go ahead.
Okay.
But yeah, everyone can cook. You just need, the supplies, obviously, and you need to manage the supplies. So you need to, carry stuff on you that you can without being overloaded, and have cooking supplies.
Got some potatoes just thrown out. So yeah, food is real. Let's
Food
see.
is real.
Limb loss. This is something I'm really interested in because I love the limb loss mechanic in Rogue. I love being able to walk around with a metal arm. So is limb loss
Right, yes.
prosthetics? Yeah, they're
I'm actually very enthusiastic about the system. Yes, there is limb loss. We used to have a very nice, gory amputation system. I ended up watering down a little bit because it might have been a little too violent for Roblox.
okay.
But yes, limb loss is very much a thing.
All right. And so is there prosthetics to replace those limbs?
Yes, but don't think of it like Rogue Lineage Metal Arm, where it's just an advantage in every way, because I think it gave you like the better block.
Yeah,
I don't
it
exactly
gave
remember.
so you'd be immune to chip damage if you blocked with it. Yeah.
Yeah, a prosthetic really is a downside unless it's some sort of specialized prosthetic, because mechanics and stuff and using special items and whatnot. But a regular prosthetic from you losing your limb is mainly considered a downside, because now not only do you need medical supplies, you need mechanical supplies to then heal those limbs if they get damaged.
Okay. All right. There's been quite a few questions about this actually. What's the update philosophy? What's going to be updates going forward on release? How are they going to be structured?
I think the plan, Ricky can correct me if I'm wrong, but mostly post-release, most stuff is not going to be too content heavy. It's going to be mostly bug fixes, because we don't want to release the game unfinished, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want to release, part of a game and then keep updating it over and over and over until it's eventually finished, or if it never even gets finished. We just want to release the finished game. If we get a content update later on, that will likely be either not a huge content update, or it would be like, kind of like a DLC type thing.
Yeah, because that's definitely one thing that divides Roblox games from other AAA games, is that a lot of the time Roblox games will just release whenever there is some kind of loop.
Yeah.
So when there's they just never really release finish.
yeah, the approach you're taking to Antediluvian is also very inspired off my years of game development knowledge. So we're not like releasing it in a Fallout 76 state where like, hey, we have the game done, but we don't even know half of the bugs that have even appeared. We have quite extensive testing team. I very appreciate those guys very much. They're at the back of the window there. Yeah, we want to keep the game going in development as long as possible, making sure that everything we can fix and can make is there.
Okay.
So we releasing the game in a completely done state.
Alright.
To get back to the original question of the update philosophy, if there is a content update, it's not bi-weekly, bi-monthly, or whatever. There's no set schedule. It's more so just whenever it's done, whenever it's ready.
Okay.
So yeah, that's our philosophy in the TLDR. Only release it when it's completely ready, completely tested. That's it.
That's definitely going to be a breath of fresh air from other games, which I will not name. Let's see. Can we carry crippled players and have them? Okay, this is quite specific. Have them shoot whilst we are running away. So will down players have any kind of combat capabilities at all, or when you're?
Well, not. It depends on what you register as downed. As in, like, if you're unconscious, no.
Okay.
But if you are, you know, let's say missing your legs and somehow you're still not unconscious, then yeah, you could still fight. You just can't walk.
Okay. On a scale of 1 to 10, how frustrating is it when you wipe, or will it be kind of like a learning experience?
I mean, I couldn't really tell you currently because
Okay.
it hasn't really happened. But I can imagine some wipes can be quite annoying, considering how easy it is to just die within seconds. Even super early or super late into the game, you can just get absolutely obliterated if you're not careful by
Okay.
either a mob or a player. A player can kill you just as fast as a mob can.
Okay. So this is another good question actually. Is there a sanity system or any kind of insanity, anything to do with your mind?
Yep. Let me go ahead and
Yeah, you want to show
There
off?
we go. So, I'll do it in a second. So, yes, there's a psychological system. Players have sanities and fears. So, a fear is a little debuff that whenever you are close to your fear, your sanity will rapidly start to drain, and you will start to be afflicted with other debuffs such as walk speed. Walk speed decreases, field of view increases, so it's harder to see. Your vision might go blurry. You might start sweating, heavily breathing. But sanity can also be affected by the people around you and the things around you. So there's currently also a system in game that measures the amount of ambient light around you. So torches, lights, just the average lighting around you. It takes that and the people around you into account and the things around you, and it kind of calculates your current sanity based off that. So if you're in a very dark, secluded room with a bunch of mobs and you're scared of them, you know, your sanity is gonna plummet, absolutely plummet. And yeah, you'll just get debuffs from that. So yeah, fears, I can give you a little fear to start off with. So, well, it's technically a phobia. So for example, I could say adophobia, waffle pill, boom, panophobia. You are now afraid of literally everything.
Okay.
I hope you enjoy.
Yeah, so phobias, fears, and just your environments, I guess, to just sum it up. What you're around, what you're currently being... So being around other insane players would make you go insane as well?
Actually, a pretty good suggestion. That might be fun. Well, I'm just gonna note it down just yet.
I was gonna say, your sanity does, you know, relieve itself whilst being around other sane people. But yeah, being around other insane people could be quite fun.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I'm writing that one down. 1 second. Insane. Insane equals decrease. There we go. All right, noted down. Thanks a lot for the suggestion, whoever asked that question.
Okay, let's see. That was a good question. If I just scroll up, what was it? How important is RNG or RNG in just in general within the game?
That's weird. That's a weird one to kind of judge because
well, procedural generation.
Apart RNG, isn't it?
Yeah, apart from the procedural generation, like I don't really know how to put it, but just
other than the procedural generation stealth, there's not really too much else that's RNG.
Okay.
That can't.
I guess it's kind of like life itself, isn't it? That you kind of get like, especially when like the character creation, you just get the card of the hand of cards that you're dealt, and you know you just play according to that. A lot is the same with the RNG in like a delve, So like the map is RNG based, so you just kind of have to make of it what you can. If it's too dangerous, you go back up and you kind of take your chances. So yeah, RNG does play a factor, but it's up to you as a player to decide how you handle that.
Okay. Where was this other one? Do we maybe want to walk around a little bit, leave this area, or is that something for future?
Probably not. We don't really want to
No.
go outside
Okay.
currently. We might show a tiny bit at the end, but we're not entirely finished with everything out here.
Okay.
So,
Good question.
plus, there's also a lot of spoilers out
Okay.
there.
Yeah, oh, yeah, fair enough. Server-wide events, so world events. Thoughts on that?
Not really, no, because a lot of it is very instanced. So having like and of course it's all randomly generated. So world events isn't really something that can happen unless it happens in like the lobby, which I don't really know what would happen then. Other than like I don't know,
I mean,
super rare quest.
yeah. I guess there's some stuff that might be server wide, but it's not like events. I guess like some distance sounds are like handled through messaging service, so you and like 100 different players might hear the same sound in like your delve. But as it stands, there's like no server wide stuff like this happens at like XX then, and it happens across every server. So no, not at the moment.
Okay. Interactable stuff or environmental interaction. So like maybe players have made a great achievement. Will they be like etched into lore? Anything? Will players be able to kind of affect the world?
It's a big one, isn't it?
It's a big. It's a big
that
one.
is quite a big one, yeah.
Yeah. I'm not gonna answer that for now.
Okay.
I'm just gonna leave that up to speculation.
Yeah, let's not answer too broadly. The only thing I can say is that there are specific statistics that are like counted in our internal analytics. Like for example, I have a little database thing set up where we can calculate how many people have delved down and how many people have returned.
Okay.
It's like little stuff. I got that off Helldivers too. So yeah.
Okay, that's
So I guess people have influence on that, like the percentage of divers that return. I guess the player have as a say on that.
It's all based on how
Okay.
good the player base is at playing the game.
Yeah, I guess.
A decent question is platforms. So consoles or controller supports, or is this
Right.
going to be PC only?
All right. So the console support was originally planned on our roadmap. So we wanted to release Antediluvian to the Xbox and the PS4 and 5. Upon closer inspection, though, we saw that the TOS of Xbox and PS or Sony didn't allow us to release it in this state. You know, because excessive violence, gore, injuries. You know, the whole thing is kind of just too violent to post on a console, I'm afraid.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean the original consideration for the game was actually to make it 17 plus, but unfortunately, very little people actually have 17 plus, so we decided.
Yeah, that's true. That is quite a limitation. Yeah.
Yeah, so you just have to tone everything down a bit.
I mean that also kind of leads into gore in general. So like blood gore, how intense is it going to be?
We want to push the boundaries of what Roblox will allow us.
Okay, you want to push the boundaries. Okay.
Yeah, I keep a close eye on dev form to see what's allowed, what's not, and we kind of try to adjust it to that. Like we're trying to get like the most realism we can on like, hey, this could be cool to have like to our medical system or like our character like manipulation stuff that we can do. But yeah, of course, Roblox has its boundaries and we respect that, so we try to play to that.
Okay. This is a question that I actually asked you guys before privately. Is invasions or invading other divers' runs, or divers kind of clashing into each other inside a cave or a mission and deciding that kind of fight or flight, do we run or do we take our chances and try and take whatever they have?
Yeah, you can do that.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's something.
I think that's the main fun part of what little PvP has, just kind of sneaking up on another squad and maybe either ambushing them or setting up a trap for them later down their path.
Okay.
Be quite funny.
Yeah, that's something that I've really been looking forward to. Will there be factions or guilds, clans, houses, anything, any kind of group you can make with your friends to try and get more notoriety or
I won't comment on things like in-game lore factions or stuff like that. But in terms of like guild making, no. The company you work for would not allow that.
Okay. Let's see. Is there any way to get rid of fears?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Of course, there's a psychological aspect to getting your fears healed, or like phobias. But I guess also a good approach would be to face them. Face your fears.
Okay.
Not every fear you can cure as easily, but like, yeah, they are curable.
This is a good question. And something I quite enjoyed in Rogue Lineage was being able to hold your torch, and shriekers would be kind of ward off by them. Do monsters have any fears, like being scared of fire or light? Any kind of specific tools you can use to ward off specific monsters? So it kind of like rewards you for knowing and gathering knowledge on monsters.
I won't go too much into it, but there definitely will probably be something like that. Though a good thing to keep in mind is a lot of monsters are not scared of you or anything that you have.
Okay, all right. This is a good question as well, because I think a lot of people, including me originally,
There will be stuff. There will be stuff like that. We do also want to handle mobs, hopefully, in a similar manner to if anyone knows the game Rainworld, where
Yeah.
each monster has their own kind of personality, so they act all different, kind of differently.
Yeah. Okay.
As that shouldn't be too hard to make.
All right.
It's just kind of small attributes that you can edit. While these guys play Rainworld.
We
Yeah.
both play Rainworld, so
Rainworld is my favorite game. Thank you, Mr. Slugcat.
I think if you guys want to check the website, which you can find in the Discord, they show a list of inspirations.
I'll just go off the list real quick. Antediluvian takes inspiration from Made in Abyss, Fear and Hunger, Spelunky 1 and 2, Deep Rock Galactic, Barotraum, Subnautica, and also Rainworld, but apparently that website hasn't updated yet. But yes, Rainworld as well.
Okay. So there's something that I was quite confused about. Well, not really confused, but just uninformed, was like how you, in the case that you do need to fight, how you fight. So this guy asks, are there any ranged weapons? What takes predominance when you're fighting, ranged or melee?
I think what takes predominance is melee, but your preferred option is ranged.
Okay.
Like very much so.
And by ranged,
I think
that's guns, right?
guns.
Yeah,
Yes.
guns.
There is gunfire in Antediluvian. You can shoot people.
And I'm guessing there's no parrying those bullets, right? There's just a
No,
yeah.
you are not parrying guns.
Yeah. Okay.
You are not a dual flintlock silent heart. Flintlock? I don't think that's an endgame weapon.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's how you fight. Let's see. This is a question I remember someone asked earlier. So, trainers, like specific people you can interact with who will teach you different moves, not really like moves, but like skills that you can use.
So, like, kind of handle like like Rogue Lineage classes, I assume.
Not necessarily classes, but maybe just NPCs who you talk to and they'll teach you a skill, like how to craft something, maybe, or.
I think a lot of that is actually more so, maybe not, of course, like learning like recipes and stuff, but a lot of leadership and learning is all down to a lot of the other players, as you can actually specialize in being an expedition leader.
Okay.
And literally, your character can be entirely specialized around teaching new players how to play the game, if that is how you choose to play the game, of course. And also that comes with its own benefits, working with actual experienced players.
Right. Reaper asks, does the fighting in the game only use weapons, or are there other ways of fighting? And you guys mentioned earlier that you're able to set traps and kind of strategize.
That's called being a demolitionist.
Okay. All right. So
my honest reaction to this information.
Okay. So we've got a box of TNT. You guys can make your own assumptions there.
Yeah.
And Bino Dropoff asks, will there be foodborne illnesses, or will you be able to get sick from certain foods that you eat?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's bad food, bad water from bad water sources.
Oh yeah, no, there's bad water.
Okay.
I won't get into it, but there is bad water.
Oh, you're not gonna tell them what's in the water?
Nope.
Okay.
Okay, that's a mystery. Whatever.
They can find that. They can find that out themselves.
There is something in the water. Okay.
There's a lot of things.
Just essentially, just don't eat things like this, and you'll be fine.
Okay.
This will aggressively make you vomit. So there you go.
Will there be enemy human AI or enemy human like divers that you want to watch out for, like raiders, mercenaries, bandits?
I want there to be to an extent, but they're not really a big focus.
Okay.
Most of the fighting in the game is not like,
Yeah.
bandits, I guess, bandit beater, but a lot of it is more giant monsters
Yeah.
and such. And if you're going to fight humanoid people, typically it's other players, not humanoid NPCs.
All right. So, Insomnia Dog asks, how will exploration be handled? Will it be linear like Lore Game or Ton of Freedom? And they have mentioned before it is procedurally generated.
So there is really a lot of freedom. I mean, from the start of the game, of course, I won't say exactly what it is, but there are multiple places to go from the very start of the game.
Yeah.
It's not entirely linear. Some parts can become linear because you get barricaded into certain areas and you have to go this way and you can't choose multiple ways, because if you want to get to the next places, you have to go specifically for this one. But other than that, it's all pretty free, to go around and explore.
Okay. This is a very good question that I do know the answer to myself, but I'm going to ask anyway. In different parts of expeditions, will different clothing be required for hot, cold areas, humidity, and that's by urban?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's hot and cold. There's consequences to not wearing them, and there's just general statuses and such as being overwhelmingly hot and sweating because you're in too hot of an area, and it can affect how your character they can start fading in and out of consciousness if they remain too hot for too long and such.
Okay.
And then eventually they can just die from heat stroke.
All right. Got another good question here, sort of relating to Rainworld, I'm guessing, but how diverse is the wildlife or ecosystem? Are you going to be able to find passive mobs that are just doing their own thing and just living, or will AI NPC focus just be kind of on enemy monsters? And
there are passive creatures, though there are nowhere near as many passive creatures as there are aggressive creatures.
Okay, so
I guess that is also to convey that same feeling that Rainworld has of being at the bottom of the food chain.
Yeah.
There are passive creatures, yes.
Yeah, that's good. So if you're on an expedition, you need some food. I'm guessing you can hunt those passive creatures as well. You can cook them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd spawn one in, but I'm not doing that because we actually only have late game creatures made only in early game.
Okay. Don't want to reveal any of those yet. Can you tame creatures or have anything non-human by your side?
By your side?
Anything on your side? Anything to assist you?
You can probably convince a creature not to kill you, but you can't make it your friend.
So you can throw some food to maybe stop it from eating you. Yeah.
Well, right, just throw your friend at it.
Oh, yeah. Throw your friend at it. Or let's say two creatures are fighting. Let's say one creature is getting ganked by multiple of another creature. If you, let's say, save it, it won't be your friend, but it will respect you and then leave.
Okay, so mobs fighting each other, part of the ecosystem question is that's a possible thing.
Yes.
Good question. Will there be medicine craftings? And a lot of people asked about just straight up diseases, illnesses. That's quite a big ask, I think, because I know a bunch of other games have tried diseases, but I don't know how it works out.
It's been my bane of existence. Yeah, Vioric and I have been playing a lot of neurotrauma. It's a barotrauma mod that tries to really accurately convey injuries and diseases. Yeah, we're gonna try doing our best to make medicines a thing, craftable, of course, and then have those be so you can treat people with those medicines. Now I messed up a little bit there.
Yeah, we're quite excited for the medical system. It's gonna be quite.
Yeah,
fun.
The medical system is very nice.
Okay,
very nice.
And this is a question that obviously no developer likes to answer, but is how much of the game is finished? And that's quite a hard question.
In comparison to how much we want done, not an insane amount.
Okay.
But then again, I think it's variable because, of course, procedural generation is all about the content that you provided to generate. So, of course, you could put a lot of stuff in and consider it done. But then again, that might scale over time because Antediluvian in its base is just a lot of building. Because you need to make those room templates, generation templates, to make the map versatile and different each run. Otherwise, it's just going to be the same rooms every single time. And it's just boring. But yeah, coming back to what Veer said, the game isn't nearly done. of course, yeah, we're working with a relatively small team, so
Okay.
I don't expect that to change relatively a lot soon.
Though to be fair, once procedural generation is like fully sorted and it's all completely working, progression is going to development progression is going to speed up a lot.
Yeah, I mean, if you even if you do have procedural generation, if you don't give the generation interesting structures and layouts, then what good is it at all, really?
Yes, but I think that just comes back to the question we had earlier, where we said like, what is the content content update structure, like the update structure in general.
Yeah.
It's just like it's hard to tell how far Antediluvian is done because we don't even know yet what obstacles might be lying ahead in like a year or like half a year.
Okay. That was a good question I saw. Fist combat. Fists, will you be able to defend yourselves with nothing at all?
I wouldn't recommend it.
Okay.
But you can.
You can. Let's see. I also know the answer to this one myself, but relics, what exactly that you're down there for? The reason that you're down there for?
Well, I won't go into relics, but there are relics. But you're not down there for relics. You're down there for a completely different reason. But yeah, know that you cannot be anywhere else. You have to be down there no matter what.
Okay.
Maybe for the audience, you could explain what like the concrete definition of a relic is.
Oh yeah. Because a lot of even our testers have gotten confused by what relics are. Relics in Antediluvian are not just let's like I don't know something from Made in Abyss like regs,
Yeah.
incinerator of sort. A relic in Antediluvian is something from the sinkhole that either has extreme significant value or is incredibly weird and has very strange properties.
Okay.
So some things could be completely valueless, but they have incredibly weird properties, so they're still considered a...
Oh. Did you just cut out there?
Oh.
I think my internet just farted for a sec. Okay.
Yeah, you're good.
Could have.
Alright. Let's see. Abilities for certain weapons or armor?
For weapons or armor?
Yeah.
I won't go into that, actually. I won't go into that.
Yeah, I don't get the question.
No, I know. I understand. Not in the way that you think, but I'm not going to go into it.
Okay.
Right, let's just move on.
That's more of some more late game.
No comment.
Yeah, okay. So system for equipment upgrading, will you have like shabby guns, like some like crappy revolver, but you can maybe upgrade to, I don't know, like just upgrading your weapons or tools in general, or what could it be described as? Like kind of Minecraft type deal where you just have like
wooden sword
stone,
and then
yeah,
stone
it just kind
sword,
of goes up.
Yeah. Well, of course, there are like direct upgrades to certain things in terms of weaponry, but a lot of it comes more so down to resource management rather than upgrading your weapon. So let's say early game you have like a revolver. It's like it wouldn't be hard to get, a gun, which is incredibly powerful. However, it may be difficult for you to manage how much ammo you have. Like you may go into an expedition early game with a revolver, but you only have like 6 bullets for that entire expedition.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, a lot of it is down to managing your resources rather than just getting the better weapon. Because I mean, someone with 6 bullets not going to win against someone with 64.
Okay. I guess that also answers this question, which is what is the approach to PvP regarding great differences between levels or people who have significantly more time on a character? I guess that also ties into maybe just people who have more resources and more better equipment will be the victor.
Well, all I'll say regarding that is, no matter how strong they are, a person is still weak to an explosive.
Okay, yeah. Potions and alchemy, is that possible?
No.
Okay, no potions, no alchemy.
We do not have fantasy kind of systems in the game. It's all very technological or eldritch.
Okay. This is a good question, actually, since kind of ties into the stealth mechanic, and you don't want to always be fighting is disguises for certain enemies, maybe. Like in Fear and Hunger, I know that's a thing. You can disguise yourself with the skin of some enemies.
It's not really something I've considered actually.
Hmm.
That can be
Disguising to enter something. Disguises might be a cool idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But just maybe stealth in general, because I feel like
Oh yeah,
just with Roblox games in general in their current state, everyone's just obsessed with just like combat, 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 combat. You don't want to.
Well, stealth in this game is already quite a big thing because although there are, giant monsters and whatnot, another big concern to be worried about is other groups who want your supplies.
Yeah.
But if they just run up on you and guns blazing, then it's not really predetermined who's going to win because it's complete chaos and people just firing each other. So you need to really, either sneak up on them and get them by surprise, or you need to set up a trap without them knowing and without them finding it, of course.
Okay.
So stealth is already planned to be quite a decently big thing. Also,
Yeah.
it's all quite dark anyway, so
Yeah.
it's quite easy.
During my very short time testing, I did experience this, but you need to watch where you're walking.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
need
yeah.
to
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
be
there is
careful.
a big hole. There is a big hole beneath you.
Yeah, you do need to be very careful. So another thing is how will co-op play be incorporated in terms of maybe parties, groups?
You want to talk about that, Ricky?
Yeah, I could just show you. I could, for example, do this. There we go. Party system.
Okay, so
Yeah. There is a party system. It is very much advised that you play with friends, or even if you don't have friends to play with, to just play with other people.
okay,
Because, I mean, to be fair, some people are obviously going to be trolls and kill each other and whatnot. But also at the same time, there's a very big risk to doing that, because if they turn around and start firing at you, you can start firing at them, and if you land a better shot, they're just dead instantly, pretty much,
yeah,
unless
okay.
they've got some sort of protection. So really, we want to incentivize even just random people working together, because playing alone is supposed to be a lot harder, because you have nowhere near as many resources as you can carry. And, of course, you're alone, so if you get knocked, you're just dead.
Okay.
There's no hope. There's no hope for you for someone to save you, because if you're unconscious, you can't apply medical supplies to yourself.
All right. Is there a well, how do I put this? Is there an effect of being underground or doing missions in general similar to Curse of the Abyss? Is there any kind of effect of just being here?
Mm,
Any kind of just like globally environment effects?
Not particularly. No, I don't really think I want to expand on it, but not particularly. There's not really a kind of a Curse of the Abyss situation. What this cave that we're in is not quite what anyone probably thinks it is. I did say to the testers, but I don't think that anyone can possibly guess what this cave is.
Okay.
Without insider information.
All right. I guess this is more of a suggestion rather than a question, really. But for the passive creatures, can you use them like Rain World with the glow guy? Sorry, with the glow guys grabbing them and using them like a torch.
The glow guys grabbing them and using them like a torch. What creature is he talking
That's
about?
very strange. I
think he means like if
Yeah.
a mob is dead or like alive, can you grab it and use it for some other purpose rather than killing it for materials or something like that?
He's talking about lantern mice. Oh.
Yeah, you know that one part in Rain World where it's like pitch black and there's those.
I mean, if a creature glows, then yeah. I guess if you kill it, you can take it around and it will glow. But I think I'd rather just use a headlamp for that, or just a flashlight.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is a good question. Can you farm materials or just mining in general? Like farming,
that is a big part
farming
of it.
materials, yeah.
Yep.
We could maybe go to the old lobby in a bit and show off how that looked like.
I mean, I'm in the cinematic mode. If you guys can, it's your call.
No, it's fine. We'll skip that for now. But essentially, yeah, just you can collect resources through ore veins, and in the future, some other systems that allow you to forage and collect different types of resources.
Okay. Let's see. Question from Hobolts. Am I cooked when facing a scary mob? Are there some mobs that you cannot just kill at all and then just like a run kind of deal?
Depends on what you mean, of in a literal or not. If like you mean like literally, is it unkillable? No, there is nothing in the game that is completely unkillable.
Okay.
At least not planned. But yeah, you're probably cooked.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Weapon variety. Is there like different options like some people want to use if some people want to use revolvers, other people want to use rifles. Is there like
Yeah.
a lot of variety in the weapons?
Yeah, I mean, technically, you could even play the game full melee. I just would not recommend it.
Okay, so I guess that's good for people who want to do like challenge runs and whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh god, I can already see the Antediluvian fist only any percentage.
Yeah.
View.
Yeah.
Can you
God
be
damn.
Antediluvian without
Yeah.
attacking a mob?
But to get back to that question, like, if I face something, am I just face something scary? Am I just dead? Well, it depends. Like, first of all, what you see, and second off, there's stuff in the game again. So most of the creatures are able to be avoided if you don't confront them directly. But some creatures, if you encounter them and you're not ready, you're dead most of the time. But then again, those creatures that you encounter most of the time that are very dangerous are further down, so you'd most likely be more prepared to face them anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
Some wacky stuff again.
if you're with a squad and you don't know what it is, maybe you're dead.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Let's see. I saw a.
Somebody just asked who's Big Ral.
No comment. Just
No
don't
comment.
pet him.
No comment. Just don't pet him. Exactly. Just don't pet him.
Okay, I saw a good question.
Also, I'm going to close the Q&A questions channel in like about 10 minutes. Just so.
Okay. Yeah.
get that out of the way.
What I was gonna ask is, do you maybe want to move on to the more roadmap side of things or community side of things? Because there are a bunch of people asking when.
He is doing some
How can I
stuff.
get tester? When's the next
Oh.
QA wave?
Yes. Let me go ahead and answer that real quick. So our original plans, it's also in an announcement somewhere in the Discord. We planned to keep you guys updated more on that in about the next week or in 2 weeks. The original schedule of having the Q&A wave open or like intake open 2 weeks after the Q&A might be a little optimistic, but yes, we will open QA intake as soon as possible.
Okay. Let's see. Will lore be subtle inside the game or slowly revealed? What's the approach for for world building in general?
I want lore to be handled kind of in the same sense as something like Subnautica, I guess, where it's not like. How do I put this?
Do you mean like maybe? I mean, I haven't played Subnautica, but maybe in it as a chance in some dungeons or expeditions missions, you'll be able to find like notes or journals left behind by other squads, other divers.
Your initial run. What is my internet doing? Jesus.
Mine is being wacky as well.
I think it's just the VC.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, lore is not really something you need if you just want to play the game casually, but it can be very helpful, and there's a lot of it for people who want it, basically.
Okay.
If you really want a lot of lore.
Oh, and the VC is cutting out again. There's a question from Mythic, and I guess we can just clear this up now. He's asking about like enchantments and stuff. Do you guys want to just clear up the whole fantasy part of this?
Yeah, there's no real fantasy elements inside the game. Maybe some very small things that don't come to mind.
Okay.
But again, the game is all very heavily technology based and eldritch.
Okay. Let's see. I mean, this kind of ties into the setting of the game in general. But machinery, or what kind of error, what kind of tools do we have accessible to us? What like futuristic tools that don't exist in our world?
Love me today.
Do you want to? Can you repeat that? Because I could not hear anything.
Okay. So what kind of futuristic machinery we'll be able to get? What kind of era is the game set in?
The era is very dystopian future, so the technology is kind of fluctuates because they have the knowledge to make modern technology. They just don't have the supplies. So some people have really like kind of caveman kind of stuff, whereas some people have some proper kind of real modern machinery on them. It's all about just the supplies.
Okay. Let's see. Underwater areas that require diving suits or special headgear?
I don't think I'm going to comment on underwater stuff.
Okay, that's fair enough.
I guess you could say some environments might require specific apparel or equipment
Yeah, things
to
like
stay
diving
warm or
suits,
cold.
but I won't comment on water specifically.
Alright. This wasn't too apparent to players, but when you spawn in, do you guys want to kind of shed some light on the lobby system and how that works?
What kind of sense?
So like, I think some people just kind of expect you to be thrown into the big open world. Do you guys want to explain like the instanced part of it?
You will have a tutorial NPC who will run you through, all the basic systems of the game, how to play it, and then you'll just be left kind of to your own devices to kind of explore the lobby, find out what's there, what you can buy and whatnot. But yeah, the gameplay loop is really centered around being in the lobby, gathering supplies from what you can, and then heading down into the sinkhole through different kind of gondolas that which take you to different areas, and then coming back up to the lobby, sorting yourself out and whatnot, and then heading back straight back down. The lobby is literally your only save point in the game.
Okay.
It's also the sole reason why most of the in-game systems are turned off in the lobby. You have no player collision, you can't use items, you can't fight anyone. The lobby is the one safe place. You can't be hurt, but you also can't heal yourself. In like the sense that I can eat stuff, I can heal up. You can only do that during a delve.
Okay. This also ties into stealth, I guess, but can you throw things or rocks to distract enemies or get them to go somewhere else?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
Could be a cool idea for the AI.
Certain creatures that can actually hear.
Okay. Hobos asked, can I turn into a cannibal? Can you eat your dead friends if you're starving?
I wish we could add it, but we could not. We definitely could not add cannibalism to the game.
Okay.
That is not allowed.
Alright.
Womp womp.
Let's see.
I've closed the Q&A questions tab, by the way, so if you could filter out some stuff you like, and then we're gonna do the closing word.
Okay. Let's see. Will there be community events, community-driven like stuff? I mean, this guy asked about like content creator stuff, but since PvP isn't such a big focus, I'm not too sure.
I suppose you could have like a content creator of sorts, like organizing a really big delve of sorts.
Okay.
Like, I mean, you can't get particularly huge. I mean, we're not sure on server sizes right now, but you're looking at like 20, maybe 20, 30.
Okay.
So in a max expedition squad, you'd only have a max expedition squad currently is planned to be about 5 people, but that doesn't mean it's just 5 people in one server. As like I said, you can have multiple squads in one server. So you could have a content creator organizing an event where he goes down and with his expedition squad, and then a bunch of other squads join, and they're doing this like massive 30-player dive, trying to get as low down as they can.
All right. Okay. Is there kind of, since you said that the lobby is the only safe place, once you go down into the mission, is there any like safe spaces in between, or once you're in there, you just go down as far as possible? There's no like safe rooms or anywhere in between?
There is, I guess, safe rooms, but they're not truly safe.
Okay.
There are places where you can get very minor restocks or sell stuff or just be away from all the madness. But that doesn't protect you from, let's say you're in like an outpost inside of the cave. That doesn't stop another expedition running in with guns blazing.
Okay. Let's see. Again, more of a suggestion rather than, I mean, unless it exists or you guys have thought about it, but maybe any kind of mimic monster, anything that can mimic players to draw them in.
A player mimic.
Or just any kind of mimic in general.
There is something.
Okay.
Similar. It's not quite that, but there's something slightly similar.
All
I'm not going to get into it.
Okay. Let's see. Can you make temporary shelter? I mean, what?
Let's do two more, and then we'll close
Okay,
off.
two more. Temporary shelter. So once, like, how long? I mean, this also kind of ties into how long are you down in the mission for? Once you leave the game, can you rejoin and you're back in the mission? Are you gonna have to set up like temporary shelter, like tents and campfires and that kind of stuff?
The way we were planning to handle it, I believe, Ricky can correct me if I'm wrong, but we wanted to have it so you can leave an expedition, but if you do, you're just going to be put back to the start with no supplies that you gathered. Just
Okay.
you don't die if you leave. But the plan is that you don't. If you're doing an expedition, you don't leave until you're finished.
All right. Okay. Let's see. The last question now. This is
The big one.
the big one.
So I get a big one for the last question.
The big one. I mean, I've answered most of them, so
Thank God we got the Spears questions out of the way first. Right?
Yeah. Rather than a main big question, is there anything you guys want to reveal or just shed some light on that no one has asked about yet? You don't want to leave any players in the dark about something?
What haven't we answered? What is the parapet law? That's just me.
Okay.
That's just me.
That's just him.
Just-
I'm the only one. That's just my little thing. I'm just a silly little blue guy.
Okay. I'm guessing, and this isn't kind of a grand big question, but 3D armors or backpacks, that kind of like 3D gear that you physically equip, or is it just going to be these outfits that you change?
Ricky?
I mean, like cosmetic-wise, 3D.
I guess cosmetic-wise, you can already see these guys have like scarves, hats, an eye patch. So, I don't know if that answers that question, but
Yeah, we got some talented modelers on board, so we'll try to have as much 3D cosmetics in game as we can. So yes, there's definitely options for customizability in terms of that area, equipable items and whatnot.
okay. So, do you guys want to give your closing word out or anything else you want to say?
Yeah. Do you wanna just take a little peek into the lobby to end? Just not actually go in, just kind of sit at the entrance.
Okay.
People can get a little look.
I guess so.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, let's go.
1 second. Let me just. Oh, I like high testers.
The tester flock is incoming.
Here we
Just,
are.
we won't go any further than this opening.
Then this
You say hi testers.
this line. Oh yeah,
Hello, testers.
emoting as well. I'm surprised no one asked about that actually.
Yeah, there's some silly little things.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, as you guys
We
can
just
see, there's
up-
that's the lobby system over there.
Up to the wood here is about as far as we can go, without getting anything super major.
Yeah. So I think this is
kind of the
pretty
general
good.
atmosphere while you're in game.
Okay.
I would
Ooh.
love to know more. Oh,
Am
am
I
just load in?
am I allowed to look into look at it off the edge, or is that?
Oh no.
Okay, okay.
We'll leave
Alright,
that. We'll leave that. We'll leave that.
Okay. All right.
But yeah, I think we can close out with that.
All right. So,
Cool.
anything else you guys wanna? Any notes?
Yeah, I want to thank everyone who, if you are in the live stream right now, thank you for watching. It means a lot to us. Thank you for asking questions again. If you have any other questions, feel free to DM me, send either of us a message, ping me in general. I don't care. I'll try to answer as much of your questions outside the Q&A as well as I can.
We have a community's questions in place. I'm completely fine with answering with stuff so long as it's not too lore heavy or gameplay heavy or whatever. But yeah, if your question didn't get asked, you can just leave it in community questions and we might come to it.
All right. I think that was yeah.
That's it. I'd say look forward to Antediluvian. We're happy to keep you updated in the future. And with that, thank you for watching, and we'll see you when we see you.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.